My name is Emma Duarte.
And my name is Christian Watkins.
And we are Christian teens giving our personal insight with facts and stories.
Welcome to the TBH, Teens Being Honest podcast.
Tatum. My co-host, Christian. My partner. Everything he does, and he doesn't even do anything. You know what his favorite hobby is? You know what he does? He just stares at a wall.
My favorite things about Emma. There's so many. I have 10 fingers on my hand? There's 11 things. That's a lot of things.
Like a closed book. He just holds it in his hands. That's exactly what he does all day. I bully him a lot.
She's just incredible. She's so humble, so kind, so perseverant. She gets up at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. and she goes to serve the poor. Who does that? And she, at 5 a.m., she serves dinner to them.
You know what else he does? Weirdest hobby of all. I'm actually concerned. He's obsessed with spoons. Yeah, it's true. It's terrifying.
It's just great. A couple days ago, I asked for a picture, and she said later. I was like, wow, now that's kindness. And I was so happy that she even would say later, because no one ever said that to me. But she was just so kind and so nice, and it was making me feel so good. So I had to go say hi to my spoons. My spoons didn't even know what to do. They were so happy. I was just talking to George. I said, "Hey, George, I made a new friend and it's not you."
Christian is the worst.
My favorite things about Emma. Well, she's just holy. So, the spoon isn't really a spoon, so it got really jealous. And Emma was admiring all the other spoons. So when we were walking down the stairs, the spoon decided to lunge out and trip Emma. And mind you, I did punish the spoon afterwards, because this was unacceptable. Don't think of me as a bad parent. But then, instead of falling to her doom, Emma levitated and started flying and forgave the spoon. Big or small, she loves them all. My spoons, that is. Hello everyone, welcome to the Teens Being Honest podcast. I'm Christian Watkins here with Emma Duarte, and today's topic, we're going to be going over bullying. Emma has gone through a lot with this subject, and we thought we'd bring light to it, sort of give our perspective on the subject, and how to work through it, what Emma had to go through, and yeah. So, you want to start with your story?
Yes, I'm going to start with my story. Hi everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Okay, so whoever's listening, I'm sure this is kind of a common thing, it's just sad to say, but a lot of people go through bullying, or they have been a bully themselves, and it's just, maybe it's a part of growing up, maybe it's a part of,
Life.
Yeah, life, but it's sad nonetheless. So, I'll start my story. I was 11, I was in 7th grade, and I went to Smedberg, which is a middle school in Elk Grove, yeah. And don't recommend. I don't recommend. It was a one of the bigger challenges personally that I had to go through, because
it was terrible.
I only went there for 2 months, and it was a feat. So I went to the school. Hold on. Yeah. I started with only 2 months left in the whole
7th grade.
The whole 7th grade, right? And I had come from San Jose. I'd come from out of town. I went to a really weird other middle school for the majority of 7th grade. There was no tests, no grades, no anything. It was all like social structure. Like you're popular or you're not, you're pretty or you're not. It was kind of how that middle school went. So coming from that, I had learned a lot of lessons, but it didn't prepare me for what I was going to learn in Smedberg. Not at all. So I do my makeup all pretty, and I am so nervous, but I'm also a really outgoing, bubbly person. I like making friends. And I started, and I walked in, and right away I saw Megan. And my mom was kind of like, hey, this is Emma. She's new. And I'm like, oh, hi, my name's Emma. Hi, Megan. And we just clicked. And she's such an amazing girlfriend to this day. I got enrolled in classes, and I did the whole tour of the school. And I just remember walking into my math class, and everybody's heads turned because they'd never seen my face before. And I was just like, shoot, this is way out of my comfort zone.
Was it scary or?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was scary because not only was I late and people were staring at me, but it's almost like I could feel what they were thinking, and I wanted to hide in a shell. And that's so not like me. I'm the kind that's busting out of that shell. So anyways, first 2 weeks were amazing. First 2 weeks were, this is the hot new popular girl. That's what they would call me anyways. And I'm like, actually, my name's Emma. I actually have more of an identity than just my looks. Thank you. And I got so much attention from boys. And, as an 11-year-old, that's what you want. That,
yeah.
Shoot, I say way too much. Cut that out. So, should probably get more serious. So the first 2 weeks were great, and I got so much attention, and all these girlfriends were like, hey, you should come hang out with us, and you should eat with me. And then after about 2 weeks, everything kind of died down, and everything changed, it seemed. So it didn't go from, oh, she's
popular.
You're right. She's the new catch. It was,
this is just Emma.
No, they didn't even know my name. Nobody cared anymore.
This is just
This
her.
is just her, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I started to become a target because after 2 weeks, I realized, oh, this friend group is actually really shallow. Oh, this friend group, she's actually really fake. Or, oh, this friend group, she's
not who I want to be with.
She's completely engulfed in everything boys. And I was not.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to date. I didn't want to do that. I did that in my old middle school, and it never worked out good for me. The whole dating thing. I don't really call it dating because you just have crushes, and you don't even kiss. You don't even go on dates. You can't. you just act all cute with the other person. Anyways, I decided that wasn't going to be me at this school. It was only 2 months anyways. There was no point. So all of the boys, eventually at 2 weeks, I would have 3 different guys coming up to me and asking me out. And I'm like,
at the same time, or?
No, periodically throughout the day. Okay. One at lunch, one in the morning would be like, hi, Emma. Like, do you want to be my girlfriend? And I'm like, fam, what's your name? Okay, sure. No thanks. And I was always so sweet about it. My mom told me the very first day, she's like, Emma, you have to be the sweetest girl here. You represent me. And my mom, she's an angel. She's a saint. I'm not going to be a devil representing the most beautiful woman in the world. So I would hold open doors. I mean, I was over and beyond nice to these kids. And there was just nothing in return, and I should have known that. But being little and being so vulnerable and naive, you just want to please everybody. I wanted everyone to like me. It doesn't work that way. Anyways, I realized that these girlfriends were not at all like me. And yeah, on the outside, I look like I could fit in.
She's got it.
She's got it all,
she can do
right?
whatever, yeah.
No, but on the inside, I didn't care about all the materialistic stuff. The conversations that these girls would have are so... Annoying. Regardless, I started to notice rumors popping up after 2 weeks of, oh, she's a slut or she's a whore. And I had never even
heard
kissed
those words.
A boy. I'd never had my first kiss. I had never gone out of I just have a flirty personality, I've been told. I just am a loving person. And so many of these rumors of, like, oh, she's had sex with him. And I'm like, what? Like, you know, and then I started to track it down. It was because of this fake account. And the girl had the same name as me. Her name was Emma. But I had a different last name. We had a different last name. I don't know what you guys are on about, but I'm not into all that. You know, I am my own person, and nobody was willing to give me a shot to talk about it. I had dreams where I could just go up on this stage in the cafeteria and say, look,
that's not me.
It's not who I am. I am a good person, and if you only gave me the chance, I could be the best friend you could ever have. I just have that loyalty in me. Not to toot my own horn or to brag or anything, but these people just thought so little of me right off the bat. They never gave me a shot. So with that being said, it only continued to get worse and worse and worse. And the more I tried to fix it, the more fire just got added to it, even though I was pouring water. It was like I was pouring water on an oil fire. And I was just trying so hard to be this sweet girl. And I never told my mom because I wanted her to just think she had so much other stuff on her plate. I want to add on to that burden. So I didn't tell her until I started getting death threats and, like, you need to kill yourself type of stuff. That started happening because of this one boy who, at the time, we used Kik all the time. And that was before Snapchat or whatever. And that was a cool thing to do. So he was obsessed with me. And I was like, I'll be your friend. Let's be friends. I would really like to be your friend. And I know that sounds so, oh, she's friend zoning you, but no, honestly, I was 11 years old. I wanted friends, okay? I was not ready or interested. Yeah, the attention was nice. The flirting was cute. The crushes gave me butterflies. But I never wanted the type of lust that they were all after at that age. I never wanted it. And so after about, like, the 6th time that I rejected this guy, he was like, why don't you just go kill yourself? Or you should go kill yourself. Nobody wants you here. It was every day. This guy was relentless. And I'd block him and he'd make a new account. And he would say, go kill yourself. Nobody wants you here. Don't go to school. I was only at the school for 2 months, guys. 2 months. I was an A+ student. And then I went to a D in a matter of 3 weeks. And then for the last 2 weeks of that 2-month adventure, I didn't even go to school. I told Mom I'm not doing it. I can't go back.
Did you tell her at that point?
At that point, when I started getting the kill yourself stuff, I got scared. I got scared because nobody had ever told me to do that before, and I couldn't understand why they didn't want me there. I was so nice. I felt like I was just like this, sometimes a fake version of over niceness to these people. And I remember sitting at the cafeteria with my girlfriend Megan, the first girl that I met, and these group of girls come up to me and they start calling me names. Or they're like, are you on social media? Whoa. I'm like, I don't even have an Instagram account, guys. Who are you talking about? They're like, you're Emma, right? Emma Duarte. Do you know me? Do you know my name? Because I don't know you guys. And I'm not going to shout out their names. They were going through some stuff I learned later, and I completely and utterly forgive everyone. I remember trying to explain to them, like, look, this isn't me. I'm not even interested in guys. And then the rumors of she's had sex with them, or she's a complete whore, or she's ugly, or she's every little thing that you could think of to call somebody, they called me for no reason. No reason. I didn't do anything. It was this other girl that had the same first name as me that was causing these problems between them. Now, with that being said, it started to get physical, not just the cyberbullying stuff. Yeah, it followed me home, but at a certain point, I turned off. I had an iPod at the time, guys. Like, I had an iPod. I didn't have an iPhone. I was so little, and I was so full of life, and hell, I still am. But it's so different when you're mistreated for the first time, and there's nobody that has your back, and you have no friends, and you're completely alone.
Did you still have Megan? I
had Megan. I loved her, and she had my back, but we were in completely different classes. We didn't have a single class with each other. I was alone most of the day, except when I would walk her to her bus stop every time. I would sit alone at lunch, and I would have my own pre-made lunches. They were all healthy food, because I didn't like the cafeteria stuff, and I would read a book, and I'd get all dressed up, guys. Like, I might not look like it right now, but I am the kind of girl that when I go to school, I like to look professional or put together, and
this is me, Emma.
This is me, Emma. I'm dressing for the job I'm gonna have. I had that mindset at 12 years old. Just go for it. There was this boy, and I'm like blanking on his name, but for the longest time I wanted to reconnect. And he sat with me, introduced himself like a complete gentleman. Hey, because these boys, he overheard them talking bad about me, and that I was all of these things. And so he just came up to me and he was like, hey, can I sit with you? Mm. And that's kind of how that friendship began. And it was just talking. It was just simple, innocent talking for a month before he ended up having a crush on me. And at that point, I was like, but I'm moving schools. I'm not going to stay here. This is too much for me. So this really nice guy, he was completely friendly, and he actually saw me. It was so refreshing and so sweet when somebody, opposite sex or not, sees you. I feel like so many people are blind on the day-to-day, or so many people are superficial and want to fill their lives with meaningless stuff, that they're blind. And this boy actually saw me. Not for what those other guys were saying about me, because I had rejected their friend and they were all pissed off at me. I'm not saying this to make myself seem like the because I wasn't. But they were infatuated by this new girl.
Yeah, new girl.
And I'm not going to lie, I like the attention, but regardless, he would walk with me every single lunch so I wouldn't be alone. We would talk about everything. I was there when his grandma passed away. I was there talking to him, and there was this other boy who, while me and him were walking, came up to me and said, you know, everybody thinks you're a slut, right?
Why? What?
And I remember just looking at him with a death stare, and I said, you know, that was really rude. Or something like that. No, that was really mean. Or I said back to this boy, that was really hurtful. Like, I called him out. And then later on, this boy went up to him and was like, you don't talk to her like that, or whatever. And then the next day, this boy came up to me and he apologized. And that was the time when I realized, you know, I gotta start standing up for myself. Because I was the girl that would run crying her eyes out to the guidance counselor. And the guidance counselor was my best friend at that school. I didn't have anybody who I felt like could protect me. Then I realized, oh, I gotta start protecting myself. This is kind of where it started to go down, though. Because I went up to this girl who was the main chick. Who thought she was so bad. She had the fake nails on and the tummy all out and the tight jeans. Everything was ripped and she looked so cool.
Yeah.
Not saying anything, whatever. So anyways, I go up to her and I'm like, why are you so mean to me? We could be friends. Why are you hating on me? Why are you don't know me? And she basically said, get the from me. And I'm like, what the heck? Why? And I remember I walked home that day crying, and then people would follow me home. It was just I didn't do anything to lead people to that era, except simply just be. And since I wasn't involved in a clique, and I wasn't involved in a popular group, I was a target. All the popular girls were like, well, she doesn't like us, so we don't like her. And it wasn't that. So one day when class had all gotten out and everybody's rushing out, this boy puts his hat on my head, and I'm like, who are you? And then he rips out my hair and, like, takes his hat back and, like, pushes me to the floor. And I'm getting pushed around by all these people. And he says, well, I can't say it on camera because it's a bad word. But what they would say to me is so hurtful. And it's like, everybody thinks blah, blah, blah of you. I'm like, I haven't done anything, man. I don't think you guys understand. It was so hurtful. And I would walk home alone crying, and I'm sure every person driving was like, she's had a bad day. But after that happened, I would hide in the bathroom until everybody left school campus so that I would feel safe enough to walk across the campus myself. It was to the point where I felt like nobody would look out for me if I wasn't looking out for myself. So I had to change direction of when I left to school, how I left, what route I would take. Because I never felt safe enough. And it got to the point where I went to the office of the staff, and I complained, and I told them, and I got my mom involved. This was after that you should go kill yourself stuff. When they were threatening that I should kill myself, I would go to the staff, I'd complain, and their first initial reaction is, oh, this is said off of school campus after school hours. We can't do anything about it. This is your student. I'm your student. How is there no protection against this? So that's when we got the police involved. And my mom straight up was like, you guys are not going to help my 11-year-old daughter who's being told to kill herself for not wanting to be involved with this guy. Are you serious? So she calls the police. The police officer comes to my house. He gives a statement. And then he goes to the other boy's house and gets him in trouble with his parents. This jumpstarts all of his friends on me. Because now they feel like, oh, I got their boy in trouble. So needless to say, the police report didn't really help. All it did was it got the boy suspended for a week, but I still had to go back to school for another month.
Yeesh.
And at that point, I was like, this isn't worth it. I'm feeling completely broken, and I can't go back. Like, I can't go back to school.
Yeah.
All my grades have slipped. I have no friends that I can see throughout the day.
It'd be too hard.
I have no light during my days. I don't think people understand when you are in a situation like school that you are obligated to be there by law. You can't get out of it. If that school has turned into a living hell in which people can make life a hell, you can't escape. And if I didn't have a mother who was so supportive and who was so willing to believe me, and screenshots that I printed out that I could show to police, this is not okay. If I wasn't smart enough to really understand how I could stand up for myself, people die from this thing. People actually kill themselves. People actually do what that kid told me to do. And people don't understand that that is Satan throughout a collection of people, influencing a collection of naive minds. I'm 11 years old at this point. Now I'm 17. But it still happens today. There's a collection and a stack upon stack of pure evil that people are so blind to. And when I said that boy actually saw me, he was that light that I could talk to, that I could listen to, that wasn't going to sexualize an 11-year-old, even though he was 12 himself. That was goodness. And what is goodness? God. So, with all that being said, I left that school, and for that whole summer, I didn't come out of my room. I didn't care about my family. I didn't have any friends. I was just in a dark room watching Netflix day in and day out. There was nothing. I started a new school come 8th grade, and I am completely opposite of how I was. I didn't talk. I didn't smile. I didn't try to make any friends. I wasn't nice. And within a week, all that changed. And I became who I was again. Because it was a safe environment. So that is so important, is that bullying takes away your entire safety. It takes away how vulnerable you can be. And you need to be vulnerable in a classroom. Otherwise, you can't learn. You're never going to want to raise your hand. You're never going to want to participate. You're never going to want to do anything. And with people that are set in an unsafe environment like their school or like their home, they'll never understand that place that they're supposed to have friends and have experiences and make cool adventures and memories will never be that place for them because they were bullied. You took that away from them as a bullier. That is an evil that you really can't get back. Unless you realized it, you apologized for it, and you changed for the better. And I can't possibly understand why this still goes on except for the sheer fact that the devil is influencing people. I don't want to scare anybody or say this whole, oh, I'm such a Jesus freak, this is what's happening. It's real. And if people could only realize it, they would know right and what wrong. And they could save somebody. They could see someone who was hurting like I did when I was 11. That is what God did. God turned this terrible situation of, oh, I'm being brutally bullied to the point where I had to get a police officer to try and protect me, to finding a best friend, finding a new school, finding a family, finding a safe environment that I have been at to this day. I'm a senior now. It's a middle school through high school thing. And I have the best people by my side and the best staff that have cherished me and that have seen me grow. He turned that terrible situation, and if it didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am today with the amazing people that I have today. Sometimes you have to go through really bad situations, really hopeless situations to find the light. That's what's most important. That's what everybody is striving for, is to find that light. They try to find it in boys. They try to find it in drugs. They try to find it in whatever gives them that high, that light for a little bit. It's meaningless. It doesn't last. It leaves you more empty at the end of the day. So if you're trying and you're trying and you're trying to fill yourself up with something that is going to reward you later on, you'll be the brightest person, and you'll infect so many other people's lives just by being sunshine, by smiling, just by being a friend to people. That is what needs to be more incorporated in schools, in life, in everywhere. It's so freeing when you don't conform to what... If I had started that school and said, oh, okay, I'm just going to fit in, I'd lose who I was. And I knew who I was. And at 8th grade, I put on this purity ring, and at senior year, I'm still wearing it because I know my worth. I know who I am. And as a 12-year-old, I did at that time too. Not because society told me, but because my Father in heaven knew it. And subconsciously, I was like, this is how I should never be treated like this again. I should never be sexualized and demoralized and bullied because of how my morals were. I didn't fit in because I didn't care to be like all the other girls.
And you didn't care to fit in.
I didn't care
because you didn't feel good. It's
sort
of a double.
Empty.
It was a double terrible situation because
exactly.
You could fit in, you could have friends, but then there are these friends that don't fill you up. They don't. Same situation with me.
Right.
I didn't get bullied. I chose to fit in because I don't have that moral structure.
I mean, it's hard, but it's more rewarding.
Yeah, so you choose these friends and they let you down, and so it's really hard. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad that you were able to hold your moral standards throughout all this time. You didn't fight back physically. That's hard, and that's extremely difficult.
Oh
I can't even imagine what that's like, and going through that and not succumbing to what these people were telling you to do, what they were calling you to.
Kind of just you have to turn the other cheek.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep going, keep moving. But there's a point where you get so tired, and you're like, you want to give up until there's a light.
Yeah.
That eventually comes over you, but.
So I wanted to ask a few questions to wrap the podcast up. What do you think that those friends, or not friends, those bullies, were going through that made them treat you that way, made them say these terrible things, do these horrible things
Right.
to just an innocent person?
Well, one of the things that I ended up finding out was one of the main girls who led this whole pack of wolves. Her dad was being incarcerated for a really long time. And as somebody, if you've heard the importance of family, who's gone through an abandonment of two fathers that were supposed to be there for you, I'm sure that must have been such a hard time, especially at that age. But you don't take it out on people. That's never an excuse. It's a reason why you're so upset and why you hate your life. I understand that. There's so many hard things. I could go on and on about how my life has been so hard and this is what I had to live through. You don't treat people like that. So yeah, she was going through that, and I learned that later on, and I tried to be a friend to her, and she spit in my face. And she pushed me to the ground. You don't treat people like that. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's never an excuse. And so what she was missing was this light in her life. And as much as I tried to be that for other people, I couldn't be that for her. And she hated it.
Maybe she didn't want the light.
Satan didn't want the light. He
That's
doesn't
not
want God. He doesn't want brightness. He doesn't want laughter and happiness. And he influences us daily. All of us. We're human. But if you let him too much, you can end up hurting innocent people. And that's where you get all of these problems.
Mm-hmm. So for you, what do you think your light was? You say...
God.
Oh, just...
Just straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up God. If my mom didn't raise me in my Catholic faith, I would be completely lost or dead today. Simple as that. I don't know how people live to my age without him. They don't. They just go through their lives. They go through the motions and they fill it with empty, meaningless stuff because God is meaningful. And I don't want to push God through people's throats, but if they only knew, if they only knew how they could transform yourself into the brightest, happiest, most amazing version of yourself. If they only knew that, they would
change.
They would change for the better in an instant.
And if they saw what that influence was,
It'd change the world.
If they saw what that other influence was, that thing that, I might be happy for a little bit, or this will make me happy for a long time, and it ends up not.
Yeah,
If they saw how disgusting that actually
Satan's
looked.
real, man.
Yeah, but he looks amazing.
Oh yeah.
He looks like, this looks
He's a master
great.
manipulator.
I'm gonna have
Doing it
fun. I'm gonna be happy doing this, and it's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
As teenagers, I mean, I couldn't do it on my own. No teenager could do it on their own.
Nobody can do
No
anything
person
on their own.
could do
We're
it on their
human
own.
beings. We're way too weak.
But
We need God.
talk about going through bullying and also what you had to go through with your family, and you still come out as this vibrant, happy, fun person. That's that's a testament to how good God is, and just how strong you also are as a person.
Thank you.
And that's really, I think that's beautiful.
I'm not the cat's pajamas though. I'm not. Whatever. How do you say it? What's the
Cat's
word?
meow. Cat's
I'm not all that in a
pajamas.
bag of chips.
Mhm.
But
yeah.
thank you.
And not to gloat or make anyone seem better than anyone
No, of
else.
course not.
That's not. You can't do that. We're not a judge of. We're not supposed to be the judge of anyone.
I'm in no position to judge, man. If they only knew.
Yeah. So we got to realize that you can't put down people, and you can't always raise yourself up either, as if I'm a perfect person, and these people down here, they're like,
Right.
they're just down there, and maybe they can be good one day.
that's also
That's
evil
also
too.
terrible. Yeah.
That's not at all what people should. That's arrogance, and it gives you such a big head. And I'm just gonna be real, because this is a to be honest podcast. I have such a big ego. I am so but I try to do it in a joking way of But at the end of the day, it's a vain thing, and it needs to stop because it's not acceptable.
And it's hard.
It's hard. We're not perfect.
That's the bottom line.
But we
Everything's
don't treat
hard.
people how I was treated. We don't treat people how... We treat people how we want to be treated. And whether we realize it or not, we want to be treated with love and care. And I have seen some truly evil things in people that I'm like, wow, that is actually Satan looking back at me through... I was at the March for Life. This might be a little bit off topic, but I think it's important. I was at the March for Life, and I'm walking next to priests, like, all surrounding me. You couldn't believe how powerful, not in that way, but how peacefully just
calm.
Calm, yeah. And this man was screaming on the sidelines and cussing and just, like, completely, like, spit was flying everywhere, just anger, and just, he was so much bigger, and I was like, man, if I got close to that guy, he would just be out.
Mm-hmm.
But I looked at him, really looked at him, and the priest right next to me, he just started saying another Hail Mary. Mm-hmm. And he was looking at him too, and he just said, Hail Mary, and it almost brought tears to my eyes, because I feel like I was in the middle of this war that I could see for the first time. People don't understand, but spiritual war is actually really real. And this evil and this anger and this on the sidelines it couldn't touch us. You know?
And
that's life.
So, wrapping this podcast
up. Let's wrap it up.
What's the last thing you wanted to say to people going through bullying or bullying others? And sometimes it's hard to know if you're bullying someone. Yeah. Because you can get like, oh, it's just a little mean humor here and there. Oh, I made fun of them once or twice. But you don't know how that affects a person.
I realized it at 6th grade that was what I was doing to this one girl. And so I left that popular girl group and I just became friends with her. They were pretty mean when I left that group. But I was like, no, you guys are being terrible. Evil. Yeah. So to wrap it up, because this can go on for hours, if you face towards the sunlight, if you always are towards the light, all the shadows will fall behind you. If you just keep on chasing that truth and that light. And what I mean by that is God. Because there's many lights in this world that are fake and false. And that won't lead you anywhere good. If you face yourself towards that, you'll be okay.
So you want to wrap us up with a prayer?
Yeah, let's wrap us up with a prayer. Let's do it. Okay. Everyone bow their heads, whoever's listening, and open your palms or close your eyes. Hi, God. It's Emma and Christian. And I just want to say thank you for all of the good that you put in this life. And for everybody who's listening, I really want to pray for them. Every single person who hears my voice, please call them to your light and bring peace, a blanket of peace around them. Help them to find a connection to you, to be close to you, to know that your mercy and your forgiveness is endless. Please help them to know that if they are messing up and if they're being a certain way that is not your way, help them to realize that. To become a light and to become good, because this life is too short to waste on anger, on resentment, or on anything bad. Lord, help them to be a light for you. And if they are a victim of bullying or was, and they have healed or they haven't, please heal their wounds or inspire them and help them to want to heal other people who are going through the same thing. God, please put your hand over them, hold them, and make sure that their light is as bright as it can be until the end of time. Amen.
It's awesome, Holy Spirit. Thank you, everyone, for listening. It's been a wild ride, and we love you all, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.